Hi guys. Um, you're going to be sick of me today because I've really been overdoing it with the putting out content in the podcast feed. Uh, but you don't have to press play, I guess is always the message. um, I I was I finally went through our Death by Southwest emails and some more voicemails. And I have not opened up our Instagram DMs in probably 2 weeks. Because I think I spoke about this before, that when I don't open them up for a few days, I start to get like really overwhelmed that there's going to be, there's never so many, but there's, that I'm not responding to people and it feels rude. And the right thing to do would be to just open it up and start responding. But instead I just avoid it. Oh, it's a really bad habit. So it is on my list to open it up and start responding to messages from the past few weeks that I have not responded to. But I did get into the email and voicemail, and I'm working my way through some of the emails that people have sent on Patreon. I'm going to be very honest. Wow, how do I start? Obviously, a lot went on in January and February for me personally, which I really wish I was the kind of person who could have just a complete shitstorm happening in my personal life and put on a publicly, happy face. I can do it for my work, I produce another podcast, and I really love doing it and love the people I work with. And I was honest with them about all the things that happened, but it didn't affect my ability to do my work, because I'm not for that job, which is my like real job. I have to talk to the people I work with. But other than that, I'm not doing this. I'm not hopping on a microphone and acting like everything's okay when it's not. And obviously the breakup episodes, there was no holding anything back there. But, where was I going? So all of that was to say that I know that because of, a lot of things that went on in my personal life between the breakup and the attack and, Henry's surgery, there was a lot. And it did affect this podcast. And I feel badly about that because, going through some of the emails and voicemails, I'm just constantly reminded that we have some incredibly loyal listeners and people who care. I know that may sound strange to some people, but people that who care about us, and so I just feel guilty for the fact that kind of my personal life infringed on our ability, or my ability, to do what this podcast was when we started, which is true crime. But as hopefully you see with the last 2 weeks and then today, we are getting back into the routine. And it was really nice to get these emails and voicemails and see, and hear that people like what we're doing, even though I kind of flubbed it up for a little while there. So basically, maybe I should have planned this out. Basically, there were a few suggestions. So I wanted to just say that, first of all, thank you. We love getting voicemails and emails and messages and DMs, even though I'm not doing great with that. But if you ever do send us an email, a DM, a voicemail, definitely a voicemail, if you would please, if you think about it, let us know if we can share it on the podcast. I'd love to be able to read some of these emails in in full, or play. Jane Butkiss just left a really great voicemail, kind of responding to the little mini intro that I put out this morning. And I would love to be able to play that, but I never want to kind of violate anyone's, privacy or if they don't want that something like that shared. So, but I did want to share just some ideas that one of our listeners, I'm not going to share her name because I haven't gotten her permission yet, but wanted to share. She is a patron, so she sent me this email to our Death by Southwest email like 2 months ago, and that tells you how great I am at checking that. So she was kind enough to join Patreon and send it to us on Patreon. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but she had 2 ideas that I really liked, and I didn't know how else to kind of share them. I'm way too long-winded to share those ideas on a social media post. So I figured I would share them on here and then ask you guys to, if you want to respond to our email or voicemail, which sounds ridiculous after I just said I know I'm terrible at checking it, but I'm going to be better about checking it. It's not like we get that many emails. There was, a couple, and same with the voicemails. So I am going to be better at checking those. And so if you would like to be part of either of these ideas that I'm about to share, please, let us know. And I did not include don't DM, because now I'm scared to open the DMs. I feel like it's going to take a minute for me to do that. Anyways, so this lovely listener sent us a very kind email. I wrote her back, but I meant to say, I'll say it now in case she's listening. She said that she told us that she binged every episode. When she found the podcast, she just went through and listened to all of them. And I meant to say, wow, you must have been annoyed with us. Back-to-back episodes of us could be a lot. But I would be interested, maybe I'll have to do it, because I feel like the podcast has changed. It has fluctuated, obviously, within the past few months, certainly. But even from the beginning, when we started, I think we were both pretty nervous and felt like rigid about it. And then I think we got more comfortable. And then, I don't know, life, the ups and downs of life definitely have impacted, I think, the quality and consistency of this podcast, which I hate to admit, but that's the truth. So she, very nice message about binging the podcast. And I think that she had 2 really interesting ideas. So she said that, well, this was a nice compliment. She said, I know some people thought that you were too woke, but I wanted to say great job for being inclusive and generally thoughtful people, which we do. I don't think it's a bad thing to be called too woke, but I understand where people are coming from when they're like, oh my gosh, I can't say anything without someone being offended or someone getting upset, which is true. We're never going to make everyone happy. But I also, I would never want to intentionally offend anyone, leave anyone out, or be, be hurtful. So man, I am distracting myself and getting off topic. So she said, I actually do diversity, multicultural, and equity work for a living. And so her suggestion was to maybe have a cultural consultant. She mentioned a few episodes where we talked about things that were inherent to a different culture than ours. I mean, we're white, so our culture is, Jewish, Italian. If I didn't say Russian, Jenna would be upset, but, a mix of things. But when we're talking about curanderas or abuelas in the Latinx community. And also she said, and also for help pronouncing some words in Spanish, which could have used her help right now. And I really like that idea because I think it allows there to be more kind of authenticity and allows for us to not be trying to speak to things that we don't, have experience with in our personal lives. So I don't know if there's anyone out there, and I'm about to be too woke right now because I don't want to list a bunch of different cultures that we may potentially talk about or have in episodes and ask if anyone belongs to any of those cultures and wants to, offer their help being a cultural consultant. I really like that term also. And I was kind of trying to think how would this be best done? Because me and Jenna record, it's pretty willy-nilly. It's not like we have a set day and time. So to have somebody kind of come on to the podcast every time, it would be hard because it's always at a different time when we're recording. But I thought that I thought something, now I'm thinking something else. I'm not sure. I think that maybe I can post something on social media or here in the podcast feed when I know that there's an upcoming episode that has anything in the sense of place or whatever included about a culture that I am not part of. And then whoever wanted to contribute could just record their voice on the voice app in their phone, or even a video of themselves and send it to me, to us, and we could include it in the episode. But I know we have a lot of very smart, creative listeners out there. So I'm saying all this to see if anyone else has any ideas of a way we could easily incorporate that. And the next idea she said, I also think it would be cool as hell. It would also be more work for you guys. So maybe skip this idea. But she said to have a listener from the town that we're covering, if that's possible. It'd be cool to get context. She said, I think it would be so cool to get context from someone who lives there or is from there. And I agree. I think that'd be great. Because, I'm talking about these towns or cities or very small areas that a lot of them I haven't been to, certainly not lived in. And so it's really hard to kind of speak to what it's actually like there. So again, I need your guys's ideas and thoughts about what would be the best way to have that happen. I mean, I could, post cities where some upcoming episodes are going to take place. And if anyone is from there or has lived there at some point, and they want to record a video or audio kind of just sharing their take on the place, and then I could include that in the sense of place. Or if there are listeners who live in Southwest cities or towns or did at one point or are from a Southwest city, and you just are willing to kind of record your voice talking about what it was like to live there, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, cool things about it, anything you really, and send it to us, that would be great. And then when I'm doing, I can kind of keep all of those. And when I'm doing one from, Albuquerque, I can look through and see, has anybody sent us anything about Albuquerque? I don't know. I'm not sure the best way to do it. But I love both of the ideas, and I would really like to include some cultural consulting and include some kind of expert input from people who are from the places that we talk about. I sat down to do this, and I was feeling very confident in that I'm going to be real concise and And I think my brain just went blank as I'm talking. But those are two ideas that I would really love to incorporate. And, I know we've talked about in the past year since we've been doing this, tons of different ideas that we want to either incorporate or do. And that has not changed. There are many things that we would like to do with this podcast. It will always kind of unfortunately be secondary to both of our actual jobs. For now, maybe one day that will change. But I really enjoy hearing your ideas, hearing your thoughts, hearing things you'd like to see us do or talk about. And yeah, these two ideas I think are great. So if anyone has any thoughts on how to kind of best implement them, I'd love to hear them. And I was going to share Jane's voicemail, but I don't know if that's okay with her. So I'm not going to. But Jane, if you listen to this, just shoot me a message and let me know if I could play your voice. Like, I'd love to play your voicemail for Jenna on the next episode, since you were referring to stuff we talked about on this one and the fact that I couldn't stop talking about Theo James. So I think that's really it. I did receive another really sweet email, from a woman who loves the podcast, listens to it, and also was kind of relating to me about the breakup stuff. And one of my favorite things that she said is, you guys make my day better. Because really getting messages from you guys, voicemails from you guys, even reviews or comments, it always makes my day better. And I fully, anytime I talk to anyone about the breakup, which I don't do that often anymore, I fully attribute a lot of me getting through that to you guys. And that may sound like bullshit, but it's really not. At a time when I felt so alone, every day I got messages, whether, wherever, Patreon, Instagram, wherever it was, I got messages from listeners and people who were so kind and made me feel so much less alone. And I will be forever grateful for that. I think I would not have gotten through that time. I don't want to say as well as I did, because I don't think I got through it very well, but I got through it. So, and this listener said, I think that Mark will come around. He's trying to establish boundaries, but he'll be back, and this will make you guys stronger than ever. And if I had read that 2 months ago, I would have definitely not believed that. But I think she was onto something. So, what else? I guess that's it for now. I don't want to just sit here and think about other things that I could come up with to say. But yeah, I do love hearing from you guys, and it kind of reinvigorates me, in total honesty. Sometimes after doing like my other jobs, I'm tired and I don't want to open up the email and I don't want to write another episode, and hearing from you guys. And then I get into it and I absolutely fucking love it. But hearing from you guys also, it makes me want to like not do anything else except for spend more time, put more on our social media, put more on our Patreon, come up with other ideas that me and Jenna could, special things that we could do. And so please keep reaching out. If I don't respond right away, it doesn't mean that we don't appreciate it. We really do. It makes me, like I said, reading these today, I'm like, oh, all I want to do is the podcast now. I want to come up with other things we can do for the podcast. So, yeah, just really, really appreciate you guys. And that's it. Our email is, for anybody who would like to send us an email, since I will be checking it more, is deathxsouthwest@gmail.com. So death, the letter X, and then southwest spelled out @gmail.com. And our phone number is, okay, here it is. 520-302-5253. And it's just a voicemail line. So nobody's going to answer it. You don't have to worry about that. It's just a voicemail line. And if you do leave a voicemail, please, 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 at the beginning or end, say, yes, you have my permission to play this on the podcast. Okay. I hope everyone is having a delightful Tuesday. And thank you guys for sticking with us. Bye.